This is Sarah Salzberg from Spelling Bee, and you're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
All right. We're going to get that very cool hand effect. The stuff that's... I like to do it. You got about a minute? Something? We'll start.
I don't like to listen to myself or watch myself.
Okay. Well, I put like the first minute or so. There's pictures over there.
Oh, okay.
Stuff.
So always like this far.
We can swing around actually.
Yeah, I know. It's a really like I always keep it like yay far.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like this.
Because I was kind of trying to watch.
No, just control here.
Like this.
Just control your hand.
Yeah. Gotcha. 30 seconds, guys.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my god!
And now brings you.
We're going to talk a little bit about Rocky Horror Picture Show, and you know, there's nothing more that excites me than some fishnets. It's Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
Wow.
Hey, welcome to Curtain Call. This is Erik Ball. With me, as always, is Glenn Heath and Keriann Parks, my brilliant, intelligent, lovely co-host. Disturbed co-host.
Just thinking of you playing Frankenfurter, wearing fishnets and lipstick, and
then returning to school at Faith Lutheran High School.
Actually, I would love to see you guys do the high school version of Rocky Horror at Faith Lutheran. It'd be a very short matinee, but you know.
I know you're joking, but you know something that's funny is that now that Music Theater International rather has all these junior versions of the shows, or school versions or whatever. Avenue Q. Now that's one I really want to hear. I've heard all about it. That's one I'm having a hard time seeing how it's going to work now.
Well, it's got to take away all the fun of Sesame Street for adults and water it back down to where it's like Electric
Sesame
Company.
Street, which is the step above Sesame Street.
Well, you know what? Sesame Street is getting a little risque with some of their web stuff. I mean,
ever since Grover came out of the closet, it's been all messy. Anyways,
no, you can't just go off. Now, Bert and Ernie, maybe I'll give you that. You know.
Oh, definitely, Bert and Ernie.
Yeah,
Grover's been sheltered ever since Elmo took center stage. I mean, Grover was the first Elmo. We all know this. Anybody who says he isn't is a liar. And don't get me started.
Don't get me started.
Don't get me. Actually, that's pretty good. Actually,
it's the same Yoda Grover.
Have you ever seen the Kevin Clash making of, or what's it called,
the
Being Elmo or whatever?
Oh, Being Elmo.
Being Elmo. Go.
Yes.
That's on Netflix.
Oh,
Go and check
fantastic.
that out. It's really, really, really good. If you're a fan of puppetry, Sesame Street, or Muppets that take center stage.
Yeah, I've got no segue for that.
Check it out.
Speaking of puppets,
we are very, very honored to have in the studio today members of Frankie's Favorite Obsession, which, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I want to make sure that I set this up correctly. This is a cast of the Rocky Horror Picture Show that performs over at the Regency Tropicana Cinemas once a month. And they do the
Shadowcast.
It's the Shadowcast. Yeah, it's kind of like the mimic in front of the movie that's playing in the background stage. They stage it right there in front of the movie as the movie's going on, and it's kind of the audience
with all the audience. The shout outs in the newspaper and the popcorn or the
rice.
Am I is this accurate? Tell me something about Frankie's Favorite Obsession. And how that
and how Erik's been wrong.
And how I've been wrong up to this point.
Well, I should probably point out that we don't allow any food items at our show, like the rice and everything. We were making that very clear because it's become a bit of an issue lately. It's just for obvious reasons.
Because it's delicious and they eat it.
The rice and the water tends to swell and people get trapped in it.
And the pigeons eat it. And they get it.
Not that, no. The reason why is because, obviously, for health reasons, plus it's both theater and cast balls. It can be very dangerous to both the audience when they stand up and you slip on rice, and also the performance as well. Suppose rice gets into your eye or costume where you slip on it and you break your arm.
You're listening to Johnathan Ruggierro.
That's right.
I'm going to get this.
I almost want to question him on that. I bet you it's just because they don't want to clean it up after.
Yeah, it's like any show that has confetti. The cast is the one that...
You haven't met our cast then.
You know what? I probably have, and I'm trying to remember because there are two. Are there still two?
No, they're just us.
Just you now. Okay, so then yes, I do.
So we have one cast. Now, is it like you treat it like a theater company? You guys are like a company that kind of... Do you trade off roles, or do you guys do the same? By the way, I should mention, I beg your pardon, this is incredibly rude. Stephie Vazzo is here as well. She's a cast member along with Johnathan Ruggierro. And now, Johnathan, are you in the show as well, or are you?
Yes, I am. We're both in the show. And to answer your question, some of the cast remains the same. It depends on who's available each month, because you gotta remember we only do this every first Saturday of the month. The rest of the Saturdays, it's like we normally do rehearse and everything, and we just got an influx of new people. So it's like it depends on seniority, who pairs off well, and who's really right for each role. And
casting, yeah.
So sometimes the roles might remain the same. Like I'm the primary criminologist, and Stephie here is the primary magenta.
Very nice. Now, maybe you should tell, if you're just now tuning in, we're sitting here with cast members of Frankie's Favorite Obsession, which is a group that monthly does the Shadow Rocky Horror Picture Show performances at the Regency Tropicana Cinema over at 3330 East Tropicana Avenue at Pecos. Tell us a little bit about Rocky Horror Picture Show in general. For those that are listening, they're going, what is this thing?
Oh, come on. Who does not know about this?
Now, granted.
I mean, you have to be under a rock.
It is a cult classic.
But even if you...
But it ain't Sound of Music.
No, this is not your mother's
and
music
unfortunately, some people only know it from Glee.
But that's actually been rejuvenating for you, hasn't it?
It has been rejuvenating, but it's like we want people to know what Rocky really is, and not just something that Glee covered.
Yeah, like the bubblegum version.
Exactly. The Kids Bop version, as we call it.
Kids Bop, yeah.
The high school version.
Yeah,
don't get me started on that. But, alright, you wanted a brief history?
Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit about it.
It started...
that one.
Back in 1972.
The Pilgrims started wearing fishnets when they...
not quite that, though you're not far off.
Jebediah Frankenfurter.
A.K.A. Richard O'Brien.
Yes.
In late '72, Richard O'Brien was a struggling actor, and he started to work on this little pet project of his, just for the sake, the heck of it. And in mid 1973, he got a group together. He got a director, his friend Jim Sharman, who was also the director of the movie. And a group together, including Tim Curry and Patricia Quinn.
This is in London. He's a Brit.
Yeah,
no, but this was in L.A., wasn't it?
No, not first in L.A.
So they did it in London first.
Yes, they did at the Royal Court Theatre upstairs in London,
across from Henry VIII. You know, it's just to screw with it.
It was like a little 60-seat theater upstairs. They did it in June. They started doing it in June 1973. Vincent Price came to their first performance, and it was such a hit. And then they moved to the King's Road Theatre in London. And while in London, Britt Ekland visited the Swedish actress, and her lover at the time was producer Lou Adler, the record producer.
Oh, wow.
And he went to see the play. He was taken in by it, and then he got arrangements to bring it to his Roxy Theater out in Los Angeles. And do you guys know what the Roxy Theater is?
Oh, yeah. I've heard of it.
Oh, yes, on the Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
And
so see, kids, if you have a dream, it can happen to you too. All you need is a series of unfortunate events.
Exactly.
And fishnets.
And sexually questionable aliens.
Yes, exactly.
So it went to the Roxy. It became this smash hit. Like Tim Curry went along, and it became a name.
Was Barry Bostwick in any of the stage productions? Because I know he had done some Broadway stuff.
No,
before
he had done
Grease.
Barry had done Grease. He was the original Tony Zuko, and miles better than Travolta ever was, in my opinion. But continuing on, he the play was a huge smash, and then Adler's wanted to like see if he could get a movie made out of it. And the first place he went to was 20th Century Fox. And at the time, Fox was trying to dabble its hand in rock and roll musicals, trying to appeal itself to a younger crowd. Like their first attempt was Brian De Palma's Phantom of the Paradise, which is a glam rock combination of Phantom of the Opera and Faust. And it's a great movie on its own. And unfortunately, it wasn't marketed very well. But Fox got Rocky for about a little over $1 million. And then they started shooting in back in London in the fall of 1974, and that's where Barry Bostwick and Susan Sarandon came in. They auditioned together. Yeah. I think they were seeing each other at the time. I'm not too sure about that.
Don't go starting rumors.
Exactly.
I really don't care about
relationships.
Yeah, seriously.
Let's see here. They were shooting, and around that same time, Phantom flopped at the box office terribly, and this is when Fox
they kind of went into this project knowing that it was kind of this. And here's the thing. Everything I say today is lovingly, okay? You have to understand my wife is a very conservative theater goer and lover. Rocky Horror Picture Show is one of her favorite, or Rocky Horror Show is one of her favorite theatrical things in that she enjoys.
Really?
Yeah.
Did she come see the one?
She did. She did. Thank you, Ramel, for the lap dance. But here's the thing.
Wait. Ramel gave you the lap dance, or gave
her, then me, then her again. Okay. But
he gave Diwali one.
They went back and forth. It was a mess. But the thing is, I say everything very lovingly. Okay. With that said, they knew what they were getting into. They knew they were getting kind of a freak show. They knew that this was going to be kind of something that was completely off the radar, when they signed up.
Well, when Fox took it on, they didn't expect it to be something like what they did. Like, there was a visit by the producers to the set, and they weren't quite sure what to do after that. So, and with the combination of Phantom's flop at the box office, they kind of more or less gave up on the movie, which is kind of a good thing, because then it could leave it to its own devices. Because Jim Sharman, who directed it, he had two options: go with some of the original cast, like Tim Curry, Richard O'Brien, Patricia Quinn, for $1.5 million, or get like a bigger budget and do somebody like Mick Jagger in the Frankenfurter role. He decided to go with the original, and in hindsight, that was a smart move. And plus, were having more creative, less studio interference. The problem was, at the same time, after shooting ended, the play went to Broadway at the Belasco Theater, and it was an ill-suited place. It was very cavernous, and the original Rocky Horror Show, not the Broadway revival one, but the original one was more intimate. So it didn't work for the Belasco. It closed after 45 performances, I believe.
It was just a very short run. But back with the movie, they purposely put it in the midnight slot back when theaters actually had the
not at first.
Not at first.
Not at first. And
was that like a knee jerk? Because I heard that at first, and correct me if I'm wrong. I heard that the movie version at first, it wasn't. People didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know how to market it. They didn't know how to accept it.
That's
why they put it.
Maybe that's why. Okay.
Well, because they figured that people like to go to crazy stuff at midnight.
Well, here's what happened. The Broadway version flops. The fall version comes out September 26, 1975 in theaters. It did well at the United Artists Westwood in LA because it had a gay following from the play. But that was the only theater it did. All the other places, it didn't do well. Like the test screenings didn't go well. There was like your usual trailers and radio spots, but there wasn't like, after like a somewhat of a push, it didn't pan out, and it wasn't well received by critics.
Yeah.
And then this man at Fox named Tim Deegan, he decided that, okay, what have we got to lose? So he and Lou Adler decided, okay, let's try it as a midnight movie, but in New York at the Waverly Theater, and also this place in Texas, I believe. I forget the name of it. And it comes out April 1st, 1976, as a midnight showing, and of course it took off from there. And over the next several years, shoutcasts started to develop, conventions started, people started going costumes, dressing up. It was all very
76, right when it started, right when it first came out. That started like the whole.
Well, it evolved organically. It evolved organically.
Yeah, and to me, that's a cult movie. It's like things. It has to happen organically. You just can't like put a movie into theater, say, "Oh, we're the next Rocky, we're the next big cult movie." I'm like, it has to be organic. It has to be legit.
Didn't O'Brien try to do that with shock treatment, and it didn't really
happen? Somewhat, like when shock treatment.
Yeah.
When shock treatment is like the Brian Janet spinoff, a great movie in its own right. And when it first came out, they tried too much to be Rocky at first, and people weren't quite sure what to do with it. But over the past decade, it got revived in convention circuits, and it's now seen as an underrated classic. Ever since it got onto like DVD, it's, I mean, in a sense, it's become its own legit cult movie, even if it had to ride Rocky's coattails.
Yeah, but fast forward to today now, you wouldn't argue with me if I said that Rocky Horror Picture Show, I would argue, remains probably the quintessential cult stage and movie. You know,
it's the face of it.
But you know, it for me, the stage, the musical of it, I really didn't realize that still was out there in
and this is interesting
because the cult following has always been, hey, let's go catch the midnight showing of
right. It's still out there
because I got yelled at repeatedly for not calling it the Rocky Horror Show,
right?
Which is what the musical is
when you were in it.
Yes.
Now, Glenn and Keriann were in the Rocky Horror Show when it was here in town about a year and a half ago. Yeah. Now, if you're just now tuning in, we're talking with Johnathan, Ruggierro, and Stephie Vazzo. They are with Frankie's Favorite Obsession. It's a Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of shadow cast. They have a company that performs the Rocky Horror Picture Show the first Saturday of every month
at 10 p.m.
At 10 p.m. over at
10 p.m. That's sacrilege.
well,
how dare you?
Well, it's like
sully the good name of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I respectfully disagree.
I'm sure you will respectfully disagree.
Some people,
me with my black V on my forehead, we will agree to disagree.
Well, of course, I do respectfully disagree. It's just like some people are like, "Why aren't you guys at midnight?" It's just like in this town, at least, some people still do midnight, but a lot of shows can sometimes go 11 o'clock, 10 or 9. 10 o'clock works in Vegas. It works for all sides. Our theater, our cast, our audience. We have a better draw.
Are there other groups that do this?
Well, yeah, other casts around the country.
Well, how about in Vegas?
Just us.
Just you. Okay.
Now, what happened to the other cast? Because
I don't know. I think they went.
You ran them.
You know this much about the history of the Rocky Horror
Ever since they lost
Show.
the Onyx, I think they're
okay. Now, did Frankie's Favorite Obsession absorb any of those?
No. I don't.
Did you guys? And I'd love to hear how the group started. Now, this is your 11th. You just recently celebrated your 11th anniversary. 11 years doing this?
Yes, that's correct.
Wow, that's fantastic. And now how many of the original founding members have seen it through 11 years?
Just Steve at this point. Katie retired last fall. Do you want me to give her a history of FFO?
Well, just kind of, like how we came to fruition for 11 years.
It started back in 2001. I came around 2004, but this started in 2001 when it was part of another cast at the time, and Steve and Katie and some others did not like how it was being run. Steve and Katie believed in more screen accuracy and more respect for the audience. People come for Rocky Horror.
Right.
That's the ultimate thing. And so they broke off and they formed FFO, and they did like a couple appearances for the first couple of years, and then they got into Tropicana, and it was the first time back in 2004, shortly after I joined and everything.
Right.
And they had a good run there, and then in late 2005, this completely right-wing owner took over and like threw them out like after one show. And this was after a record-breaking Halloween show.
Oh, wow.
At the time.
Rude.
And right-wing people.
Exactly, rude. Exactly, rude.
And make sure you get your voter's card.
I was going to comment on something, but I don't want to give free publicity to a certain restaurant chain that does the same.
Right wing.
Let's see here. We went to Hamburger Mary's for 2006, which was pretty good. And it was a more intimate experience. Like, it's right there. Like, we have a smaller screen. It was a restaurant. If anybody remembers Hamburger Mary's, it was
right at the Hard Rock, wasn't it?
It was right over there.
Yeah.
Halfway through the year, they changed their name
across
to
the street from the Hofbrau.
No.
Yeah, the opposite corner. So there's a Hard Rock.
But
CVS is.
Yeah.
Where the CVS. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's the Alexis Park Hotel, the Hofbrau, Hard Rock, and then something else on that other corner.
We lost the place in 2006 when the restaurant closed. And we did a couple shows for this First Friday wannabe thing called Art About, which was which wasn't all that great, to be honest with you. It was like a whole mess of a time.
The stories I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Oh, what is it called? Autobot?
Art about.
Art about. I thought you said Autobot.
No, not.
Wow.
That Autobot would have been better.
Yeah.
So we could do Rocky for a couple of years, but we did do a short run of Hedwig and the Angry Inch here in town. Like we did try the shadow cast of that. But but the problem is we couldn't draw more than 30 Pier. Like the place we were at.
Like I said,
that's a more obscure.
I was just going to say, Rocky Horror is
still
the
haven't
quintessential cult
But
classic.
I have to tell you, I love Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Oh, we do
a
too.
million times more than Rocky.
And I'll
Horror.
tell you right now, talk about some fantastic music in that music. I'm not overshadowing you, but that's another one. It's an underappreciated musical.
That's fine.
And I want to give a shout out to Corey Benway if you're listening.
Yeah, Joe Hines, if you're listening.
Yeah, fantastic production.
Yes.
That's my shout out for the day. Joe Hines is my shout out.
It was a great production. But so we had like a few shows that went nowhere, unfortunately. And then in late 2008, Amanda Kraft, do you know who Amanda Kraft is?
Yes.
She was on our cast. She just retired last show. And
did she?
Yeah, she just retired. We
I
already
did
miss her
not know
terribly.
that.
And let's see.
Because she played Janet for like 5 years.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
And as well as a few other characters, I'm sure.
She
yes,
even played Frankenfurter. I've seen pictures.
Well,
Yeah,
she
Not that I stalk or anything.
the gender bender night where
that
all
was-
guys play girls.
We encourage stalking. It's okay.
But yeah, we encourage stalking.
It's Rocky
yes.
Horror.
All right, but she made arrangements, and we got to do the Halloween show 2008 at the UNLV Student Union, and it was a free thing. We had like a big screen. We drew about 800 people there, and that's why we call ourselves the #1 record-breaking Las Vegas cast, because that's a single show attendance record.
That's crazy.
And
800
easily
people, a lot of people.
That cannot.
A lot
be
of UNLV people. Did you offer food? Because that's how you got them.
No food.
Students always want food.
They always want food.
No food, but it's like a Grateful Dead concert.
And about a month after that, I was reading the Las Vegas Weekly, and I saw the article that Regency Theaters had gotten Tropicana Cinemas. To my surprise, I thought the place was dead, and
it
they
sat
were
vacant for a while, correct?
Yeah.
it was abandoned.
Yeah.
And then I noticed in the article they were talking about bringing Rocky back, so we got in touch with them, and then we did a trial run in 2009, like 3 shows and everything, just to see if it was doing. Each show was bare attendance and everything. Halloween was great.
Right.
And then in early 2010, we started our monthly schedule, and we've been here ever since. And
That's wild.
And I just have to say this right now: Regency has been like really great with us. Like they've been very accommodating, very cool to work with. They've been sweethearts. I mean, and that place is doing very well. I mean, they just set up a new 4K digital projector in the room. We just debuted it last show, which was beautiful. The sound was beautiful.
Well, you guys are using digital footage. You're not using a reel or an old.
I wish I wish we were, but the truth of the matter is, film prints are becoming more scarce these days. I mean, and it's just more economical to do it digitally, but it looks every bit as good. And it's like we take the advantage of look to some Rocky people who like mourn the loss of film. I sympathize. But at the same time, it's like you can either cry about digital or you can take full advantage of it.
It's the 21st century.
Well, it's a transition like anything else.
Exactly.
Oh my God, talkies are going to destroy the classic. Oh my gosh,
Exactly.
color? No, we can't have color.
Those darn talkies.
But yeah, it's like we have
Flippy-flu.
but like every show we have an intro, a 10 to 15 minute intro reel with like we mix it up every time. We sometimes have music videos, sometimes we have rare Rocky stuff, old trailers.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's like we always like to give them a nice little treat to walk in on, and then we start our pre-show, Virgin Sacrifice, and then 20th
Oh
Century
my
Fox.
gosh, we got lots to talk about. You're listening to Johnathan.
Oh, what a great segue to go talk Virgin Sacrifice. Go to commercial.
No, we need to go to commercial.
Go to commercial.
We have to
Virgin
finish that
Sacrifice is when we come back.
We gotta play. Johnathan Ruggierro and Stephie Vazzo's here with Frankie's favorite obsession. They're talking about Rocky Horror Picture Show, and we're going to come back and
With Virgin Sacrifice.
We're not going to do we're going to talk about a Virgin Sacrifice, but we're not going to do anyways. Hang tight, and we're going to talk a little bit more.
Virgin Sacrifice.
I don't think we could anyway.
I snuck through my very first Rocky Horror Picture Show without getting the V.
How did you do that?
Because my date said, pretend like you know what you're doing here. Hold this newspaper, grab the squirt bottle, take this bag of rice, just go in.
All right.
I've only
got
ever
that.
seen it once for the shower
Some
cast.
guys actually threatened to punch me when I told them I had to mark them with a lipstick.
Are you serious?
Oh, you do it with lipstick. How nice. You don't do it with a black
That's
permanent
what was
marker?
done to me.
We do it with a red lipstick.
Did you go to our show?
Well,
And
it was
I when I started out on the cast, I was
We did do action minutes
I
commercial.
was one of the ushers, Trixie's, and so I had to work the line and sell the prop kits and
Wow.
work the virgins. And this one lady, she was just like crazy drunk, and I was like, is this your first time, seeing the live cast? Yeah.
Do you guys still sell the prop kits? I mean,
Yes, we do.
Okay.
$1 each. Yeah, it's like
drunk. Is that why?
Now, do you allow them to bring in their own?
no. It's theater and cast policy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
It's so
like
different from the late 70s, early 80s.
it's just
Back
like
in my day.
there's a good reason why. It's like the props we use, like toilet paper, rice. It's
Gotcha.
stuff that
But I
isn't like
didn't-
couldn't
No,
be a
I
healthy.
completely understand because I remember the theater got totally trashed.
Keep
But
it.
see, I
Gotta
remember
go back
There
and
you
forth.
go.
Gotcha, bud.
I'll
see how we do. See how we do.
Yeah, that's what we can't allow
If the
that.
cast, or not cast, but if the crowd can be diligent and not hurt people with their
Like, they get
props.
drunk and
Well, you know what?
chuck it right at you.
They should not throw anything at the actors.
No.
Never.
But there's always going to be at least one person that has to ruin it.
Yeah, 60 minutes. Or 60 seconds. 60 minutes. Take a nap.
I would.
See, I did not know Amanda because I know she's started doing
Awesome 80s. I was
Prom.
just there on Friday.
How is that?
It's
I hear it's really good.
It's amazing. It's not so much a play, but it's like your own experience. And I never went to my own prom, or I haven't been to a school dance in 11 years. So it's like it felt
Plug for Awesome 80s Prom.
Yeah, seriously, they did a hell of a job.
Good.
Yeah, and a great
30
cast.
seconds.
I keep seeing people on Facebook that I didn't know were involved with it at all. Like Enoch Scott.
Oh yeah.
did
Well,
it.
Enoch and Ben Tucker are splitting.
Yeah,
MC stuff.
Good idea.
I mean, I know my voice carries very far and I speak at about 1,000,000 decibels, but
It's hot in here. Sorry, guys.
No, it's
Well, the fan.
It's not as bad as outside, trust me.
no, this is like heaven in here in comparison out there.
There we go.
Hello there, this is Roger Rees of New York's Peter and the Starcatcher, sending you back to Erik Ball here in Las Vegas.
Oh, thank you, Roger Reese. Gosh,
That was nice of him to
it's
call.
really
in.
nice for him to call in and kind of send us in from commercial. Isn't it?
Yeah. So apparently he's got the iPhone app where you can stream Curtain Call over your iPhone. You just go to the iTunes store and download the app, and you can stream us
Live, and it's free.
It's free.
Yeah, it's for those people who don't like keeping that transistor radio on their dashboard.
And with,
you
with
know,
the
to
aluminum foil antenna.
Yeah, to the AM stations. God love the AM stations, but you know something? The Facebook or the iPhone app is really kind of the most convenient way to do it if you have an iPhone.
Well, there's the convenient way of waiting a couple of days, and then the video footage. Hey, see, I'm waving at you right now. If you're watching the video footage from YouTube, which you can find the links on our Facebook page.
Yes,
amongst
like
other
us on
pages.
Facebook, or just go to YouTube and search for Curtain Call with Erik Ball, and you'll be able to see all of the archive footage of all the shows that we do, including this one. In the studio right now is Frankie's favorite obsession cast members. That's the Johnathan Ruggierro and Stephie Vazzo. They are doing the Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of shadow performance group that does a kind of a collaborative performance with. For those of you who don't know what's going on, it's a great thing to go and just have. It's like a party. It's a wild
It's
party.
an experience.
Yeah, it's a unique experience because the movie in and of itself is one thing, and
Yeah.
I can't sit and watch the movie by itself.
It's got to be part of like a party or
Well,
something.
and that's what
the
it's
first time I
become.
saw the movie was in high school, and it was at a party, and everybody was freaking out and loving it. And I was like, "What is this?" And it was so crazy that it's infectious. You just got to get involved.
like the first time seeing Pink Floyd's
It's
The Wall.
like the first time for anything.
Yeah, almost.
Anything.
Well, no, because you typically don't have a
That
shot.
was
You
extraordinarily
typically
awkward.
It was
You
like
don't
my
have.
first time at church.
It was like
Just
my
like
first
that.
time bringing something to a potluck.
Oh, see, I was thinking
how I-
completely gutter,
just-
and
no,
it's like
yeah.
I'm thinking the shadow cast. That would be really awkward to have that at the first time.
I want to know what they would bring to a potluck for Rocky Horror, but that's just another story.
no.
But anyways, they're here, and we're talking about Frankie's favorite obsession and the Las Vegas cast of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. They perform every first Saturday of each month at 10 p.m. only at the Regency Tropicana Cinemas. You can get tickets the day of the show. You can just walk up and get them. or you can go to rhpsvegas.com. rhpsvegas.com. They have a Facebook page too, Vegas Rocky Horror. There's also a phone number if you want to call, 248-7469. That's the box office number, the phone number for the theater, rather. Anyways, we were talking a little bit about Rocky Horror, where it came from, why it's kind of has this longevity. It's really kind of standed the test of time. Now, I want to kind of, because you've been with the show for a long time. How long have you been with the show?
I joined towards the late middle of 2010.
Okay, so you've been with it for a little while.
I'll be 2 years in October.
Excellent. And there's how many people are in your company approximately?
It fluctuates.
Yeah, it fluctuates between 20 and 25 because we just got like an influx of new people. Like a few people just recently departed, and we just got an influx of new people, and we're continuing to look for more hands, not just for performance, but also for tech-wise.
Do you hold auditions?
Is it like, I want to know what it's like? Is it like Wipeout? You gotta go through
I'm actually curious. With regards to that, because. And I speak lovingly as well because I have a lot of friends that are involved and have been involved with the show. But how would you hold auditions? Because you don't sing, you don't.
That's true.
You don't act. You have to almost mimic pantomime what the actors are doing.
It's not so much an audition, but it's like we're looking for the kind of people we look for are people that can commit to the shows. Like make sure they make the rehearsals and the shows because that goes towards it. Shows that you care.
You're looking for commitment.
Well, sure.
You're looking for like a committed
dedication, commitment, and there's got to be the energy as well.
Well, yes, absolutely. We don't want people that are like there to like say pat a resume. We want legit people that love Rocky legitimately and want to be there for the long run, and willing to like be able to like help out, be sure nothing can conflict, and be responsible adults as well. It's like it doesn't matter your age.
It's funny that
but
you
like
say that.
well, it's
Rocky Horror Picture Show. You must be responsible adults.
It's the truth because we're just like any other theater production. Like we have an age limit, 18 plus, for our cast.
I would hope so.
Oh yes, absolutely.
You know, the shout-outs are more risque than the movie ever has been.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like in terms of like being on cast, you have to be at least 18 years or older, no exceptions, and we want people that can take the initiative, be able to handle themselves over time, and just be responsible. It's like some people say, "Oh, we're not theater or anything." It's like, okay, maybe we're not, but we're just as every bit as professional as like any theater production out here.
That's interesting that you said. I wanted to ask you. This was kind of what initially kind of sparked my interest with having you guys on the show, because this program, when we set out to do this radio show, the three of us sat down. We said, "Here's what we want to do. The number one thing we want to do is add positive interest to community theater or theater in Las Vegas. We want to put people in seats. We want to make patrons aware so that we can drive them to what people may not know what's out there." You know, and that's our goal is to do that. And then when you called and we were talking a little bit about putting the show together, I was like, this is interesting. Do you consider what you do theater? I would love to know. I mean, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I would love to hear what you think.
To be honest with you, yes. Like I said, whereas every bit of professional, whereas everybody prepared as a production company out here.
Cool.
Even if we're shadow casting just a movie, we do our own thing every now and then. We put together pre-shows. Like for our 11th anniversary, we just did a Phantom of the Opera pre-show. It's up on our website as a video.
Yeah, I saw that. What was that about? Did you do something in collaboration with Phantom? What was the
Phantom?
What they did like what they do with Rocky Horror, but with they kind of did it to Phantom of the Opera. Masquerade, and they sort of Masquerade, and then they did.
Yes. What we did, we wanted to do this for a while and everything, and we wanted to save it for a special occasion like our 11th anniversary show. What we did was we did the Masquerade number as you saw, like with the majority of the cast, and then it was just Riff Raff as the Phantom and Janet Weiss as Christine, doing their own thing at Phantom of the Opera. It's like. If
you want to see what we're talking about, go to rhpsvegas.com. It's on their front page there. You can play it while you're listening, and you can see what we're talking about.
Yes, I introduced it as like the auctioneer at the beginning of Phantom, right down to the lines. And it's like our own pre-show, but with a Rocky twist to it. And that goes back to my whole point. It's like, even for Shadowcasting Just a Movie, we also do our own thing. We own our own gag, put our own twist on things. We do our own pre-shows that we rehearse for. We always rehearse. And believe me, rehearsing is so important because you gotta know your blocking. You gotta know where everybody is. You want to be as good as possible. You want to give the audience a good time because they're here to see a Rocky Shadowcast, and you want to be as accurate as possible.
The goal is to be deadly accurate to the
and
script.
while also having your own fun with it without deviating from the movie, of course.
Okay.
It's
like
like
the shout outs and the
Well, do any of the players actually speak, or because again, it's been years.
Like,
since,
Oh yeah, is it
like-
all
yeah, mouths just
what's it
moving?
called? Lip syncing.
Yeah.
Lip syncing.
I generally tend to say my lines, and I'll even do callbacks every once in a while. When I first joined, that was we had one person that didn't really like us saying the callbacks on stage, but
Well, you know what? I think that's for me. I think that's good because the people that may be coming in to see it for the first or second time, it takes a long time to learn the call outs or the shout outs or the callbacks or whatever you want to call them.
there's scripts online.
I realize that, but there's different ones too.
yeah.
When Keriann and I did the show,
Sometimes
I went out and
companies-
researched because I had to. I did the criminologist.
Yeah, I
as
saw
well.
you there.
And I had to be able to respond to those shout outs
Right.
on a nightly basis. And
That I totally forgot about that
Yeah.
in our rehearsals. That our director
Which
actually
is a
sat
hard-
there and
yeah.
called him out at us while we were rehearsing.
and that was a bit odd simply because the organic aspect of it, because some of the shout outs became different each night.
Yes, well, and I think that was so good of Joe to throw different ones at us.
It was good of Joe.
Kept
Thank
us
you,
on our
Joe.
toes.
There's
And
go ahead.
And the funny thing is, it gets to where with some things you actually start relying on your lines to help you with like when you're supposed to be like making a move or go to the blocking and everything. You start relying on those lines to help guide you.
Well, and with the Shadowcast, you don't have the luxury, if you will, of being able to stop the movie and
Exactly.
go off, which was one of the lovely fun things with the live version is that
Well, that's
Corey and I we
Oh, yeah, you did.
we just go
Yeah.
They would do a
and like-
callback, and then Glenn would call back to them, and they would banter for a bit.
Yeah, the only night it did. There was one night where we got no shout outs and you guys were stuck
I was there
backstage.
that night.
That was your night?
No,
And I
you
was
don't
like-
understand. It was the deadest audience
Yeah.
in the world. It was like
And
nobody
so
was
and so I like went
Those
to my
are the
next
worst.
lines and you guys were nowhere
were
near
not ready.
set backstage for.
You're pulling teeth.
I know,
But-
dead audiences. I know exactly what you mean. That's like one of the worst things you can imagine about. And here's the thing: we tend to get a lot of versions of our show, and I'm hoping like we have more regulars, like more people that have seen our show now and in the past and everything. Keep coming back, like be more regulars. Help like the virgins out with like the lines and everything.
Well, what is the charm of coming back repeatedly? Because it
Because
theoretically is the same thing every time.
Theoretically, yes, but every show is something different. There's a different performer, a different gag, a different slip up.
But they're doing their best to be exact to the movie, and so that's why I'm wondering
But-
where it becomes different. Because if there is a variation, that's more of a mistake.
Not really, no. It's not variation. It's like it's something I expected. Like we could have like a pre-show. It could be a different thing in the intro reel. It could be a different person performing. I mean, it could be a whole bunch.
Well,
bunch
and
of
that
things.
would be the fun thing for me is to go and see. Okay, you're playing Brad this week. 'Cause Last week
Exactly.
you played Riff Raff. This week you're doing. Next week you're doing Frankenfurter. Oh my god! And the week after that you're doing Columbia. Okay,
and that's
and that for me that would be kind of
And
interesting
that's
to
one-
see how each person does.
and
it.
that's one of the reasons why we're always on the hunt for more people. We want more understudies and everything, just so that we can have more versatility. We can shake things up, and that way it's like we can always have a top flight performer up there on the stage as a principal, and also as a Transylvanian, also as a Trixie, because every one of those little things counts.
Now, you have some of the players do the background. As
Yeah,
well?
we sometimes do gag stuff. Like we have a Transylvanian squad. Our training mistress and co-cast leader Donna, she heads that up, and she's done a terrific job with it. Like over the last couple of years, and we want because the Transylvanians and the Trixies, they have every little bit. It's not just some throwaway thing.
Well,
it's
it's
not
an
beneath
ensemble effort. Yeah.
It's not a throwaway thing. It's not beneath anybody.
Well,
they are every bit as important.
What is appealing to doing, and like I said, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, for people who have never seen a Shadowcast version of the show, who are maybe thinking about going out and checking your guys'
which
show
they
out,
should. It's a great experience.
And it's a fun time. At the very least, it's a good time.
Yeah.
You know
I would recommend going with friends, though.
Yeah.
Going by yourself it's just sad.
Don't go alone to anything. It's really sad. But what is the appeal to doing this versus like the stage show? Have you guys ever thought about mounting like a stage show version of this yourself, or do you? What's the appeal of doing the shadow show?
The appeal of doing the shadow show is because it's just fun. Period. Like I said, every show is a different kind of thing. You get a different kind of audience reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You get maybe your friend is there, your loved one is there.
Right. But for somebody who's never seen it before, why would they go see that instead of a piece of theater? I'm trying to. Here's what I'm trying to get at, and I am playing devil's advocate here for a second.
Well, yeah, I still want to call it, it is an art of performance art.
I would definitely say that it's performance art, but it's not in the same vein as theater, meaning a musical theater piece, say, let's argue, say, Rocky Horror Show, just simply because they're singing, dancing, performing alone on their. It's kind of like I would argue that this is kind of similar, but more a community effort. It's like more. We have a Rocky Horror Show has an audience that's very much encouraged to call out. And
right.
But the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Shadow Show, is more of a interactive. Would you say that that's more accurate? I mean, I'm trying to get at what the differences are.
This one?
Because I remember going to the Rocky Horror Show when they did it over at the Onyx, and I went the night that it was the driest audience
Halloween night
ever. But still, can I say that I really, really enjoyed myself? And in Jackson,
you enjoyed yourself.
I enjoyed myself. Good. And in Jackson, Michigan, I went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. What you guys do in Jackson, Michigan? Imagine Michigan people doing this. Dear God. Anyway, but it was still a lot of fun.
My family's from Michigan.
But I'll tell you right now, just having been to both, very, very different experiences.
Exactly.
One, I would say, tips its hat to the fact that this is a piece of live theater, and one very conscientiously tips its hat to the fact that you're paying homage to what is very much so on the screen right there. That's still the main focus. And so, that's kind of where I'm at with this, and I wanted to make sure, because as far as, 11 years, I can't wrap my brain around that. Like, you guys must love this. There's got to be some sort of...
Frankie's favorite obsession is just 11 years, because it's been...
It's been going on
for 30-some.
It's been more than 11 years since I went to the one in Michigan.
Well, you were mentioning about, different experiences, and you're very much right. There are different kinds of casts who do different experiences. Mm-hmm. I have seen Midnight Insanity down in Long Beach. I've seen Sins of the Flesh in Los Angeles.
Right.
Two very different shows on their own, and from us as well. And... excuse me. And those casts have been around a hell of a lot longer than us.
Yeah.
And it's like we've only been around 11 years. They've been around over 20.
I think that's great.
And like New York City's been there since the beginning, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And geez, I don't know.
Here's the thing, and it's one of those shows.
You couldn't do this show purposefully. You couldn't make a show like that today.
Yeah, it's really a good experience. It's fun. So you need to head. If you're just now tuning in, we're talking with cast members from Frankie's Favorite Obsession, the Las Vegas cast of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. They perform every first Saturday of each month at 10 p.m. It's only at the Regency Tropicana Cinemas over at 3330 East Tropicana Ave at Pecos. If you want more information, hit up their website, RHPS, Rocky Horror Picture Show, rhpsvegas.com. They also have a Facebook page. You can check that out as well. And we're talking a little bit about, what's interesting to me is the fact that we have all these different groups across the country. I mean, this is not just Vegas.
Oh gosh, no.
It's
all over the country.
All big cities.
Yeah, we have. Everybody has like their resident Rocky Horror group.
Mm-hmm.
Frankie's Favorite Obsession is no different. It's their it's this Vegas chapter of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
The Vegas branch.
Yeah, it is. I wonder if they have like Elks Club or Kiwanis Club meetings where they all get together.
Anyways, I would guess there's the national.
There's got to be a national.
Oh yeah,
at
and all that,
conventions.
Yeah, there's
It's like
usually,
Comic-Con for Frankie's.
Yeah.
For Frankie's
well,
version.
it depends on it. Sometimes you have a smaller scale, like a Palooza, or a mid-level scale, or like a big one. Like the last, honestly, really big one was the Sins of the Flesh convention out of Los Angeles, just a couple short years ago. There you had Cliff DeYoung and Jessica Harper from Shot Treatment there, first time ever at a convention, which is a treat in itself. Yeah, Barry Bostwick there, a very hilarious and wonderful guy.
He still has some.
He's alive?
Oh yeah,
I'm joking.
Yeah. Well,
He's getting old.
He still loves the Rocky Horror
Oh,
Picture
yeah.
Show, whereas Tim Curry does
He's
not.
kind of-
Well,
he
actually,
has-
that's not true. Actually,
Okay.
that's not true. It's just like
I just
well,
remember about 7-8 years ago they had that coming together of everybody, and he didn't show. He was
not
like,
not exactly. Here's the thing. There's always been rumors that like some people hate it. No, that's not true at all. What it is like Tim distanced himself for a while because he didn't want to be known for just that, which obviously he's not. He's a terrific voice actor, your go-to villain.
Sure.
Yeah,
So it's like,
And this
but he's always been rather proud of it.
well, it really made him. That
Exactly.
elevated him to the next
It's
level.
like Susan's always been proud of it. Even Peter Hinwood, the Rocky in it, he's like dropped off the.
Meatloaf. I mean, Meatloaf was nothing before.
Like, yeah, even Peter Hinwood was always fond of it. He's just like he didn't want to like focus on the past. He wasn't much of an actor.
Was that it? Tim Curry was getting too much.
It was
People
a little
were
too
saying,
much.
"Oh, you were great at." It's like,
But he's never been ashamed of it or anything.
Okay.
He doesn't hate it.
Dear God,
No.
well, I know, and not that he hate, but that
love you.
he's tried to distance himself from it because obviously he's
Somewhat.
done
yeah.
at least 100
He
films.
he can do anything he wants. I'll still always know.
Wait, now
it's Harry
I
Potter,
know what I want to know is
Yeah,
was
no.
that Tim Curry
Oh,
in Men
Tim
in Black
Curry.
3?
I haven't even seen Men in Black 3. All I know is like he did this
Hannibal.
production down in Los Angeles a short while ago, and some of like the local Rocky people like got to meet up with him and everything. So as far as I know, and
He's also kind of one of those weird reclusive actor types. you
he's
know.
just a very private man, which I could totally understand.
Isn't it funny that the privatest of actors are the ones that go, "Arr," you know, on
the
stage and they
most
do the
bizarre.
craziest crap, and then they like Susan Sarandon usually is just like, okay.